Hi, I'm Perry, and you're listening to The Beauty Brains. Hello and welcome to The Beauty Brains, a show where real cosmetic chemists answer your beauty product questions and give you an insider's look at the cosmetic industry. This is episode 405. I'm your host, Perry Romanowski, and with me today is Valerie George. Hello, Valerie.
Hi, Perry.
Good to see you, Valerie. Thanks for making time today, because on today's show, we got lots to cover. We got questions including, do non-UV wavelengths of light also damage the skin? Are Dr. Emi Arpa products truly innovative, or is this just a trendy marketing? Does using an ultra-plush water-only makeup remover cloth cause significant mechanical exfoliation? Are there baby products that people should use and avoid? And do facial serums work? Look at that, Valerie. Not nary a hair care question in there. But first, before we get to answering those, we've got Chit Chat, we've got beauty news, and Chit Chat. How's it going, Valerie?
You know, I'm pretty tired. Underneath this shirt you see, which I have Oreos on it, I'm very sorry about that. I'm wearing my pajamas. And yes, It is the afternoon, but
it is the afternoon.
Newborn life is hard, and I just didn't get dressed today.
Well, there you go. Well, you know, it is an effort. I imagine. I can only imagine because I have no kids of my own. But I've heard the stories of newborn life, and that lasts 6 months or something.
I don't know. Hopefully not. You know.
Okay.
Because that feels like a long time because we're only 6 weeks in.
Or you could say that's a month and a half. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Well, you know, I did something. I went and took a look at our reviews.
Oh, did
And of course, I don't look at anything nice that people have to say. I'm like, what are the nasty things people are saying?
I mean, but overall, the reviews are positive. We're like 4.5 or 4.6 out of 5. That's like a lot of stars.
Well, on Spotify, we're 4.8 stars out of 5.
Well, there you go.
Even better.
That's better than my Uber rating.
That's true. Well, it just got me upset. You know, we tell people to leave reviews. I never read the positive ones. And
it's funny how, like, you can get hundreds of positive statements about you, but then we always focus on those negative ones. I tend to be more Pollyanna-ish, and the negative ones I find kind of funny, but I focus mostly on the positive stuff.
Well, a couple people, this is what bothered me. Because some of the comments, they're just off base, right? They don't know us. They haven't listened to enough episodes to really understand where we're coming from, I feel.
Sure. On
a couple of the comments. But a couple people don't like our name Chit Chat. They said they didn't come here for that. They came here for beauty stuff.
Sure.
And I actually think this is a nice part because our listeners get to know us. They get to know what we're up to and kind of what makes us us.
Right, and it helps you and I connect better. You know, we get to catch up on each other's lives.
We warm up, yep.
I know. This is our little warm-up. And you know what? I've heard this before, and it's just like, well, I like doing it, so there you go. But one of the things that I have added to the podcast are timestamps. And so if you find the inane chit-chat too inane and too chit-chatty, you can go to your podcast player right now, and typically on those, you just click on the next timestamp. It'll jump you right there.
Oh, good. So people don't have to listen to our inane chit-chat if they don't want to.
I know, but mostly they want to, right?
I know. They want to know what we're up to. Speaking of up to, right. I am so jealous. You're going to Cannes, France in a couple weeks. I was supposed to be there, but Baby C kind of ruined it. Now, Mr. Cosmetic Chemist did say I could go because this is a scientific conference. It's called IFSCC Congress or Congress,
It is a Congress, in France. It's 3 days of scientific talks and poster presentation and hobnobbing with industry cosmetic chemists from around the world.
And there's always such great hair and scalp presentations there.
Yeah.
And I won't get to go because of Baby C. Now, Mr. Cosmetic Chemist did say he would put me on a plane and I could go by myself and deserve some R&R and be with my industry colleagues.
Well, that is a long way to go.
What do I do? I can't leave Baby C here.
Right. That would be kind of soon. And, you know, what's Baby C going to eat, you know?
Exactly. Well, what are you looking forward to about the show?
Well, I'm looking forward to just meeting up with all my international friends and fans. I've been doing a webinar for the IFSCC for years, and there are a lot of people who know me just from seeing me every 2 weeks on the webinar. And so when I go to these things, people are always very nice and they say hello. So that's always fun. Looking forward to all of the scientific talks and quite frankly, going to South France. I've never been to Southern France, and I've heard so much nice about it, so I'm looking forward to that.
I've never been to the southern part of France either, and I've been to France several times, even as a kid. I think I've told you guys on the show I grew up in West Germany, and so we would head to France quite often, but not and not as an adult either. So, well, have fun.
Yeah. Well, it should be a good trip. I'm looking forward to it. And speaking of trips, are you doing anything? You got anything coming up?
Well, I do have 2 talks coming up in September. First, I'm speaking at the Science of Skincare Summit in Austin, Texas.
Oh,
and
fun.
There's a dermatologist track and there's a esthetician track. And I'm actually speaking twice at the esthetician track on skin lightening technologies, not necessarily like demelanizing skin, melaninizing. I don't really know the word for that. But, people have hyperpigmentation or they overall want like a brighter, more luminous look because pigmentation is a sign of skin aging. So I'm doing a talk on active ingredients for that. And I'm also speaking about just like trending ingredients in general.
Okay.
So that's very exciting.
Well, that's very interesting. And is there a big presence of cosmetic science in Austin?
Not really. I actually don't know why the conference is there in Austin. I just know it's like a hip place. It's like South by Southwest is there, so maybe that's it, but I'll try to find out. And then I'm actually speaking at a brands summit. The brand is Sorella. It's a spa brand, and they have invited me to come speak at their summit. I've done some work for them, so that'll be really exciting as well. I actually was getting a facial in Dallas, and the esthetician knew I was going to be there, so
wow,
that was pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you are everywhere, and speaking of everywhere, let's get to Beauty Science News to find out else where you were.
Well, where'd you see me?
Well, Valerie, I was just perusing the feeds, and I saw this news story from Slate about the Ozempic face aging and products that are targeted, I guess, specifically to people's faces who look like they've been on Ozempic too long. And lo and behold, Valerie George is quoted in there in this article in Slate. So what was this all about? What's this Ozempic face that people are talking about?
Well, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So for a while on my Instagram, I've been seeing pictures of celebrities on Ozempic, and you could always tell, as you said, when people have been on it too long because their face becomes very narrow, almost like their skeletal structure has changed, but it hasn't. It's just the way the skin and fat deposits are laying on their skull. Yeah. And you'll notice that all the faces tend to have this like really hollow look in the center, and their face becomes very narrow and longer looking. And it's Ozempic face.
So wait, it's like when you're losing fat, you start to look like your skull, so your head looks like, what, a skeleton head or something?
Yeah, but it's, basically, yes. Like you're part of the Addams family almost. So anyway, of course, it wouldn't be the beauty industry if they didn't capitalize on something. And so there are a couple skincare brands that have launched saying their products specifically target Ozempic face and Ozempic skin. And so I spoke with a reporter who said, well, what do these products have that ordinary skincare products don't? What do you think the answer is?
Nothing.
Nothing, because when you have a lot of fat loss, your skin gets looser, it tends to look more wrinkled and crepier. And so the skincare actives, or the way these formulas for, in air quotes, Ozempic face are designed to fill in those crepes and fine lines and wrinkles and make skin look plumper and more hydrated. So there's not really anything going on at a physiological level. Right. But it's, kind of neat that the beauty industry is starting to capitalize on this. Now, there were a couple brands that they were just in their marketing claims, said they did claims testings on GLP-1 patients. But then a couple brands actually have GLP-1 in the brand name of the product, which is pretty bold.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Well, do people really know what GLP-1 is?
No.
In general?
No.
Okay.
And I don't think we really understand everything that's going on at a physiological level either. So.
Yeah. GLP, good-looking...
good-looking
plump.
Person. Yeah.
Good-looking and plump. I guess that's right what it is. Well, I saw a company that is involved in a lot of lawsuits just settled a lawsuit. J&J settled this privacy lawsuit. Apparently, they made this biomimetic AI to analyze people's skin for their Neutrogena brand. And somebody sued them. It was a class action lawsuit that said that they were secretly storing facial scans from users, and they were able to identify people based on the data that they were storing, and they stored it without asking people. So in this settlement, they it ended this 2 years of litigation. It was filed in Illinois back in 2022, and the lawsuit alleged that the app collected all these biometric identifiers, and it was linked to their personal details, and that's in violation of the Biometric Information Privacy Act. Apparently, there is that one. So in the U.S., you're not allowed to do that, and J&J just essentially, instead of fighting it, they said, okay, we'll pay the fine and stop doing that.
I worked on an app like this once through Paul Mitchell. Yeah. It was called Hair AI. We didn't take facial scans, but we actually used the device that the Neutrogena Skin 360 app used, and I configured the device for hair. Right. So we changed some settings within the device application. And that was a real concern because you don't want anything, even if it's not the face, but someone's hair, someone's skin, you don't want it to be linked back to that person. And so that information had to be all desegregated and be non-personally identifiable. And right. I'm surprised that J&J didn't do that with this app. And maybe they did, and they just didn't want to go through the legal costs of not settling it. But that's, huge right. privacy invasion.
I could imagine, though, if you're a brand, you would want that information so you could target market to consumers. And it does seem to me that these days, consumers are a lot more willing to just give up their privacy to these companies.
People don't read the fine print. I actually do read fine print. And if you actually read the privacy policy of any app on your phone, you would be shocked at the information you were just willingly handing over to companies. And so it's up to the consumer to be smart and read those things. And a lawyer could argue, well, people don't read those things, and that's kind of fact. So it's not the role of the user who signed up to do that. But honestly, it is. And
I would agree with you that probably most people don't read what that. But I would say even if you did read that, what are you going to do? You either accept these terms or you don't use the app. So, okay, welcome. You can't use Facebook. You can't use Instagram. You can't use any of these things if you don't sign these things away. So, while you can read it and understand it, your choice is really, do I just follow these things and use the app, or I just don't use the app?
Recently on Instagram, there's been a whole thing going around about how it's like, stop posting immediately and go to your privacy preferences and turn off location, because I guess it was posting locations on people's posts. And newsflash, it's always recorded your location. And by the way, 10 years ago, Instagram used to associate every picture with a location. So this isn't something new that they've been doing. And just like if you have your phone in front of you, even if the Instagram app is closed, it's listening to your voice and it's going to make targeted ads towards what you're doing. So do yourself a favor, say, oh, gee, I wish I had a new car. You're going to have ads for new cars on your Instagram because you gave it permission to record you. Now, you can turn off that permission and still use the app. You just can't post. But again, you have to read the fine print to figure that out.
I'm not sure it's been firmly established that your phone does listen to you. I know that's what a lot of people think. I'm not sure 100%
Read
that
the fine print, Perry.
Okay,
you'll see.
Okay, but usually with microphones and cameras, the lights, the red light will come on, and you know your things. So, but of course, like Siri is always listening to you because you just say, "Hey Siri," and it comes on. So it's got to be listened to you to some extent.
Exactly. Well, we're not privacy experts, but
we are not.
Very interesting. Read the terms and conditions.
It is interesting how we see privacy differently. And speaking of privacy, I think it's time to hit to our beauty questions.
Our first one comes to us from Siv. Hi, I'm Siv from India. My query is that I've tried different sunscreens. What I have felt is that the skin and tanning is purely based on genetics and some skincare. My question is that the UV rays are responsible for damaging to the skin heavily. But what about other spectrums of light? Can you suggest some sunscreens if there are sunscreens for that role? Also, are there any other alternatives for sunscreen like wearing a hat? I've heard that there are some clothes that repel UV rays. Is it worth it to use them?
Interesting questions and very timely because we are in summertime. So, Siv, you make a good point. There is a huge genetic component to sunburning and to tanning, and different skin types have different levels of melanin, different levels of thickness, and they're going to react to UV exposure in different ways. Now, I would say that this is where SPF testing comes in, right? When something is SPF, the way SPF testing is, you actually will expose untreated skin to UV, and then you time how long does it take for them to get the burning effect. And then you put on a sunscreen on another spot, and then you can time how much extra time does it take for burning to happen. And from that's how they essentially figure out SPF. But you know what? Not everybody burns at the same rate. And so that is mostly the genetic component.
And is this why, I know the answer to the question, I guess it's a bit rhetorical, but is this why you need a panel of individuals to be tested on?
Exactly. That's why in any kind of clinical testing, you're going to have multiple individuals, and because then you can take the average of that and get a sort of an average prediction of what the SPF will be, what moisturizing levels or whatever. In fact, whenever you see claims by the beauty industry about how, if it's going to make your hair 10 times stronger, but not everybody is going to get that 10 times. Some people will get more, some people will get less. The average is what you always see in advertisement. It's the average what you see in SPF testing also.
In addition to UV rays damaging the skin, there are other types of wavelengths that get emitted from the sun that are responsible for damaging skin, and that is visible light. Visible light is the wavelength spectrum that's responsible for how we see colors. So it emits this very tiny wavelength spectrum. I think of 380 to 800 or something like that in terms of wavelengths. And these wavelengths come down and hit objects. Some wavelengths are absorbed, some are reflected, and that's how we see that something is orange or yellow or red or whatnot. Now, these wavelengths also interact with our skin, and they do cause hyperpigmentation in skin, which is why tinted SPF or even foundations are really great, because they help absorb in this visible wavelength spectrum to protect skin, or at least block visible light from getting to skin, I should say. Now, are there other ways in which it can damage the skin? Sure, but there's also ways that visible light can help with skin. And I always found this really confusing, because when we have red light devices, blue light devices, all of these devices emit visible light, but it's in a very specific wavelength where there's benefits that are to be purported from it. So some visible light is helpful, some of it's not helpful, and I just think there's a lot of research to be done on this, but nonetheless, sunscreens don't necessarily protect against visible light unless they have iron oxides in them.
Yeah, exactly. Now, the question of alternatives to sunscreen. Yeah, there are certainly alternatives. Yes, wearing a hat, wearing clothes, wearing long sleeve. It's interesting to me when I go on vacation to the Caribbean or, a sunny, beachy, sandy vacation, I look at all of the workers, and all of the workers are wearing long sleeves and long pants and hats, and even some of them wear scarves and such. So the people that actually live there all the time, their sunscreen is wearing a lot of clothes.
Yeah, well, there's even clothes that do have sun protection value, I'll say. So all clothes, I think, have some sun protection value, but you can purchase clothing that's rated to have sun protection value.
Yeah.
Are you aware of this?
I am very aware of it. I'm, as predicted, I'm kind of skeptical that you can put some number on it because, now, sure, you have a T-shirt where it's a cotton shirt and you can see through it. Yeah, you can get sunburn through that. But this whole notion of rating a shirt or clothes for a certain level of, effectiveness in blocking UV, I find it a little dubious. I've never seen somebody wearing a shirt and then they're getting tanned where their shirt was,
Well, I've been burned where my shirt was, so I totally believe that there's some value to it. So what we're talking about is that clothing can have a UPF value. Aside from ultraviolet, I don't really know what the U in UPF could stand for, but nonetheless, it's like the sun protection factor for a lotion. But it comes from fabric. So essentially, on a test subject, there's fabric placed over skin, and the control is that there's no fabric over the skin, and they essentially measure the time to burn. Yeah. And like SPF of a lotion, it gets assigned a numeric value to it, and there's a little calculation with it. Now, it's a little challenging because, the type of fabric plays a role in the UPF value, the fiber, type, how closely knit it's weaved, how you wash it. Does it stretch on you? Is it a little looser on someone or tighter on another person? Can all affect the value. I guess no different than like a lotion, like how you apply it. But, the more you wash the clothing, the more it can reduce its UPF value. So it's kind of not a permanent number. It's a little bit more dynamic, unfortunately. So yeah, I think you could probably just use your brains because UPF clothing is pretty expensive. It does have a price premium with it. But you can look at a shirt and know that like a cotton shirt kind of has a looser weave than like wool, let's say. Not that you would wear wool out in the sun, but you know what I mean.
One kind of test you can do is if you hold it up to your eyes and you can see through it, then it's probably not as protective against UV light as if you hold it up and you can't see through it,
Exactly. One UPF clothing I do wear all the time are gloves in the car.
When I'm driving, I also wear gloves, but that's so I don't pick at my fingers because it's a nervous habit that I have.
You do wear gloves. Let me see your hands. How young do they look? Oh, well, you joggle every day out in the sun.
I do, right. I do, yeah. All right. So just when I'm driving. All right, let's move on to the next question. This one comes to us from Mara. Hi, Beauty Brains. I just want to say how much I love your podcast. Wish I found you sooner. I especially love the inane chit-chat in the beginning. No, I just added that.
Oh my gosh, I thought she really said that.
No, I just added that. I'm tuning in from Germany and wanted to get your take on a newly derm-founded brand that's been getting quite a bit of buzz here called Dr. Emi Arpa. I've tried their toner, active acid mask, and Absolute A retinol, and my acne-prone skin has actually been looking better. Then again, I also recently stopped trying tons of new products at once, so maybe that helped too. I'd love to hear your take on the brand. Do you think their products are truly innovative, or is it a lot more of a hot girl marketing strategy that's driving the hype? Thanks again for all the great info that you share. Dr. Emi Arpa.
It reminds me a little bit of Dr. Barbara Sturm. Like, it has this really clean aesthetic to it. It's, this whole like medical aspect, really, neutral tones. It's very interesting. What do you think?
The reality is there's not really been anything new in skincare, beyond new peptides and stuff. So for a lot of products, there's not much new that they can do. Now they have a 5-step cleanse, exfoliate, prepare, treat, and moisturize. mean, to me, there's not really new technology in moisturizing. So if the product's working for you, then, that's good. That's keep using it. But is there anything new? I mean, they have hexane diol in there. That's not new. Butane diol, their acetic acid. I'm not seeing any ingredients here that are particularly novel.
They're using ingredients that we all have access to. So, for example, azelaic acid, ceramides, etc., prebiotics, postbiotics, ectoin, which actually is having a little moment right now. So I'm sure they're really nice formulas. The price point's a bit steep, 196 euros for 100 mLs, which is... Well, it's by the 50 mLs, but they price everything by 100 mLs for your convenience.
Sure,
So it's very expensive. But guess what? They're running a special right now where you can get a summer hat to protect your skin if you place an order over 125 euros.
Well,
I'm sorry, 200 euros. I thought I saw 150. Oh my gosh, now it's saying 250 euros. Oh my gosh, the banner's changing. But nonetheless, yeah, I'm sure the products are fine. They're a little, just for me, it's a little expensive. But if you love them, keep using it. I think you can get similar technologies in other products for less.
Yeah.
You just won't get the free summer hat.
I'm looking at their gel cleanser. They use water, and then the lauryl glucoside is based on that, and then xanthan gum. I've seen this in all kinds of cleansers. So there's nothing particularly special about the products as far as I can tell. From a formulation standpoint, marketing is, it's a derm sort of sponsored one. And so, they're probably going to have decent formulas, but it's, like you said, it's kind of pricey.
I might check them out only because I do like the color yellow and I am interested in this summer hat.
Well, get the summer hat. But the one other thing that you did say is that you are using it and your skin is looking better. So keep using it. That doesn't mean it is the product that is doing it, but until you have evidence otherwise, it's fine to stick with it.
Well, I'd also like to point out that Maral has mentioned her skin's acne prone, and she switched to their acids mask and their retinol. And those are actually really great just ingredients to use in general for acne-prone skin because they help improve cellular turnover. So one cause for acne, which by the way, acne is very complicated, is that dead skin clogs a pore from releasing materials, and then microorganisms feed on the dead skin and the trapped oils and all that kind of stuff. And so that could be part of it. So yeah, as Perry said, if it's working for you, keep doing it. But you could also try a similar acid product and retinol from another skincare brand and see if that's working for you.
I think you could certainly find products that work as well with similar ingredients at a lower price. Valerie, look at that. We have an audio question from Hillary.
Yay.
Hi, Perry and Val. My name is Hillary, and I have a question about exfoliation. I skew more towards the Perry style of skincare than the Val style of skincare. And as a new mom, I just don't have that much time. Congratulations, Val. I was wondering if mechanical exfoliation from a makeup remover cloth might be benefiting me in any way. I'm hoping. At the end of the day, all I have energy for is to use a makeup remover cloth to remove the sunscreen from the day and moisturize after that. Is mechanical exfoliation enough? Do I need to be using a chemical exfoliant? I appreciate your podcast. Thank you so much.
So Valerie, a new mom, doesn't have time to do her skin care routine like normal. Do you have any experience in that?
Well, actually, you know what? Honestly, I've been making more time for my skincare. Not that I...
Really?
It's not like I had a lot of time before. I guess I'm kind of doing the same. But I'll tell you, I skipped a lot of days before and just kind of said, I should probably wash my face today or whatever. This was mostly while I was pregnant because, baby C was very big and being pregnant was very hard. And working full time, I worked up until the day I had the baby. So
right, yeah.
I feel like now I'm making more time for myself where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go wash my face, even if I don't get dressed for the day or whatever, and make sure I use some products. Also, I got sent a lot of products by Sorella for the summit, and I'm testing them. So it's kind of like I have no choice. But anyway, no, I'm intentionally making 5 minutes for myself every day in the morning and then at night to do it. So I totally get where Hillary's coming from, though, because I pretty much have time for nothing else.
Well, I can't imagine. I see like this new trend to get glass skin where it takes like a ton of products to do that. And K-Beauty was a ton of products to do that. And it just seems like so much work. You know, I did read feedback that people are concerned that I'm dismissive of products that I've never tried. I will say that I try all the products, especially anything I ever worked on. I would always try my prototypes, but it's just I don't use these things regularly. So, but I certainly am familiar with using them. In fact, I used to love to use a washcloth when I was a kid. It'd be nice and warm. It's just it reminds me of when you're on a plane and they give you that hot towel.
Oh yeah, well that's only in international flights and business class. But anyway,
that's right.
No, I totally agree. And guess what? Using a towel is a great way to exfoliate your skin. Now, it's not the only way I would use, to be honest, because you have to get cells loose, and only chemical exfoliants can really loosen a lot of them at any significant level. But washing your face every day and then using that towel to rub the skin is going to get a lot of dead skin off. And in fact, Baby C had a problem. He had a patch of really dry skin on his eyebrows, and I took his little muslin washcloth and I wiped along his brow line, and it took all the loose dead skin cells off. So it works on people for all ages. I was actually really surprised by that. But I wasn't about to put glycolic acid on him. Anyway, nonetheless, Hillary, if that's all the time you have, that's a really great way to do it. And it feels good to have a cloth touch your face. You're right about that, Perry.
It does, especially if it's warm.
Yeah.
And you know, it does work better than, say, like the St. Ives apricot scrub or something, which is just putting particles on your face.
Oh, 100 times better. Yeah. And I think it's more gentle than a Clarisonic, let's say, with the silicone fingers.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you for that question. And here's our next one. Hello, Valerie and Perry. Congratulations to you, Valerie, and Mr. Cosmetic Chemist Scientist on the birth of your son. Will you be formulating baby products for him? If not, do you have recommendations on ingredients that parents should be looking for in baby products, as well as things that you think they should avoid? Sincerely, Sheila. Thanks for that question. Valerie, do you experiment on your own newborn?
I thought about making products for him, and then Mr. Cosmetic Chemist reminded me, I'm never going to do it. You know, it's just like when, for a while there, I made this hair pomade that Mr. Cosmetic Chemist loved. And he would be like, I need more of it. And then I'd be like, okay, I'll make it for you. And then I would never make it for him. It's kind of like that. So it's just probably never going to happen.
You know what happened when I was in the lab, working at Alberto Culver, Leonard Lavin, who started the company, every 3 or 4 months, he would come down to the lab and somebody would have to stop all the work they were doing and make his special aftershave that somebody in the lab once made him, and it was the only thing he would use. And it took these special ingredients. It was the special Leonard Lavin formula. And I guess that's just the power that you have when you own a lab, because we would have to drop everything we were doing to make this product for him. And so what I'm getting to, Valerie, is maybe you should just drop everything you're doing and make Mr. Cosmetic Chemist his hair pomade for him.
Yeah, you know, I've been in that position before where the owner of the company, maybe they're a billionaire and they want a hair color, and you drop everything that you're doing and you do it. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of great baby products already on the market. And so therefore, why would I go make them when I can just buy them?
I feel that way about cosmetics in general. Making it is fun. It's a fun hobby to do, and you can make some really good stuff that maybe is personalized for you. But if you don't want to learn how to do all that stuff, there are so many good products on the market. You can just buy something, and it's probably can do it for less money.
question, does it count if I took Snow White Petrolatum USP from my lab and I use it on his diaper rash area?
Well, I think that's you making your own stuff. I guess so.
It's like I made dinner and you just like grabbed a can of soup off the shelf and heated it. Well, guess what, guys? The diaper ointment, you can get many different types, but typically like an Aquaphor diaper ointment area is actually just petrolatum. So, and it's a USP grade. So I had some in the lab, so I grabbed it and I've used it on baby C. But, I'm going to buy stuff because at the end of the day, I'll tell you what, yes, I could make some really beautiful formulas for him, but you don't want to really put a lot of occlusives on baby skin outside of the nappy area, it's called. So outside of their diaper area. And then as far as lotion goes, I could do it. It would take me probably 4 hours to make a little batch of lotion for him.
Right.
I might as well just buy it. And honestly, I'm just going to buy from the big brands like Aveeno, which is a Johnson & Johnson brand, because they've done all the safety testing. They've had toxicologists look at the formulas and make sure they're appropriate for baby skin. And I know some of the rules, but at the end of the day, I don't formulate baby products for a living. I'm primarily hair care, hair color, some skin. So I just would rather go with a really big brand that's done the work. Now, I do have a couple indie products made by smaller companies that I could put on him. I'm going to look at it and kind of use my own judgment on whether it's a good product to apply to him. But I probably am going to avoid essential oils or fragrances that come from places where I don't know that they can be substantiated, because it's very easy to overuse an essential oil or to make your own fragrance and not have the regulatory support of a fragrance house that can chemically analyze all the components of an essential oil and make sure that specific source is within the regulatory thresholds. So I'm not saying avoid those types of products, but I'm saying you would have an easier time buying from a very large brand.
Right.
That
specializes
within all the safety constraints.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would certainly feel safer that way. And isn't it, though, the case mostly, you don't want to really put any products on the baby. You want to kind of minimize chemical exposure, at least in the early phases.
That's another reason why I'm not using anything, because he doesn't really need it. Like on the dry skin, I could have put something on it, but I just said it'll work itself out. At another time, he had dry skin all over his legs. We, put a humidifier in his room, and he was good. You just don't want to use something if you don't have to. And, not yet, we don't have to. Now, I am using products in the bath because he's just very oily. He has very oily hair, which is kind of weird. Yeah. So I am using a little, honestly.
Wait, so he has a lot of hair?
He was born with a lot of hair. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so I am using a little vendor prototype of a basic cleanser because it's, I got the formula for it, and, it's a little bottle, and we just literally put the tiniest drop in our hands and just kind of massage his head with it.
Okay.
So that's it. Yeah. And then a little soap, but it's Dove unfragranced for kids,
I think that really the bottom line is the safest formulas are going to be coming from these big companies. So.
Yeah. And fragrance free. You don't need fragrance, guys. Just better not to expose than to expose.
Right. Even though ingredients are considered safe and they're safety tested, I think you're going to be exposed to enough chemicals over your lifetime. Minimizing that exposure when you're a baby is probably a good idea. Speaking of good ideas, we got one more question, and this comes to us from Linda.
Do facial serums work? My facial skin is very sensitive. What should I avoid? Thanks, Linda.
Well, do they work? I think there's a range of answers there, from no to yes. It really depends on the claim, right?
And what you want it to do. So if you're using a facial serum that's for skin brightening and it has no humectants and you were expecting it to provide hydration to your skin, no, it's probably not going to work. But if you are using a hydrating serum or a serum that claims to be hydrating and it has glycerin and hyaluronic acid and all this kind of hydrating stuff in it, yeah, it's probably going to work.
Yeah, it really depends on what you want to do. I think any facial serum typically is going to have some sort of moisturizer in it, a humectant, maybe it depends on how it is. It could be emollients are in there, maybe some occlusive agents, typical moisturizing things. So from that standpoint, at least where you put it, it will. Now, if your face is sensitive to a lot of ingredients, you're just going to have to experiment and find out what you're not sensitive to. Most people can handle something like glycerin or propylene glycol. It doesn't impact a lot of people, but even some people are sensitive to that. There is no magic formula for saying, oh, this is sensitizing and this is not, because everybody is sensitive to different types of things.
I think a less is more strategy would really benefit you as well. So generally, the more ingredients that are in a formula, the more opportunity there is for interactions to happen. And so if you can look for formulations that are very simple, that have fewer ingredients in them, as a sensitive skin type person myself, I think you're going to find that does a great world of wonders for you. Now, a lot of people say they have sensitive skin, but they don't actually have sensitive skin. I believe you when you say you do. But if you truly have sensitive skin, you want to actually avoid, honestly, most things. You want to avoid exfoliating acids. You want to avoid ingredients that create more physiological activity within the skin. So, for example, retinoids that increase cellular turnover. If you truly have rosacea, depending on the type of rosacea you have, if you have like pustular rosacea like I do, you could try azelaic acid, which it is an acid, but not in the same way that glycolic acid is. So yeah, it really depends what your sensitivity is. But if it's just like redness, let's say, definitely a less is more strategy. Avoid exfoliating acids, avoid low pH products like ascorbic acid serums that put your skin in a place where it doesn't want to be.
And certainly a lot of fragrance components. So you could find fragrances maybe that you're not sensitive to, but there's a lot of ingredients in fragrances that are, and essential oils, you kind of want to avoid those things.
And that reminds me, botanical extracts. People think, well, this is a plant extract, it must be great for my skin. Botanical extracts also, like natural fragrance compounds, have thousands of components in them. And so it's really hard to pinpoint what is causing an issue, and they also have allergens in them. So I would also avoid plant extracts.
Well, Valerie, I'm listening to you talk about plant extracts while I'm hearing the music.
Thanks for listening, everyone. If you get a chance, head over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a review, especially a review where you help ease my mind and say inane chit chat is something you're looking for, because
Valerie actually needs 20 positives to offset every one negative.
I know. I like the inane chit chat. I don't want to upset people, but I guess if you're upset, you could skip it. Anyway, a review is going to help
Valerie,
other people.
I like the AI stuff. Obviously, some people find that very polarizing.
Yeah, me included, and I'm a host on the show, so it's got to go.
Yes,
but anyway, guys, reviews are going to help other people find the show and ensure we have a full docket of beauty questions to answer.
Speaking of questions, if you have a question, you can just record it on your smartphone and email it to thebeautybrains@gmail.com, or you can use the form in the show notes to post it on our question forum. Also, the Beauty Brains are on Patreon. If you like what we do and the fact that we don't have any commercials, well, the show is not free to produce, so if you could help offset some of the costs, you can go to patreon.com/thebeautybrains and subscribe at any level. Your questions get a higher priority to get answered, and you get a transcript of the show.
Beauty Brains are also on various social media accounts. On Instagram, we're at The Beauty Brains 2018. On X, we're at The Beauty Brains. On Bluesky, we're at The Beauty Brains. We have a Facebook page, a TikTok, and we're newly on YouTube, The Beauty Brains 2018.
That's right. Well, thanks so much for listening.
And remember, be brainy about your beauty.
Thanks, everyone. Kittens.
Porch kitties right, it's a brand new day. Scrounging for food in their own sly way. Tiny tucks and stew, they're They're on the prowl, chasing cicadas. Oh, listen to them howl. PK Clone's on the deck. She's taking a snooze while Benny 2 and Blue share some loving muse. Heat miser's under bushes. Yeah, he's laying low, waiting for the moment to steal Puffer's show. Porch kitties living life free and wild. Each one's got their own style and a clever smile. From dawn to dusk, they're claiming their space in this Chicago backyard. It's their own dang place. Porch kitties living life free and wild. Each one's got their own style and a clever smile. From dawn to dusk, they're claiming their space in this Chicago backyard. It's their